Netflix, please don't piss me off. Please don't piss me off, because for the first time since season 1, I was actually rooting for a couple. And this is how you choose to end episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind. Season 4, episode 1. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. Also, to show some extra support, you can follow me on my other platforms. You can find all that information in the description box down below. You will also find a link to the Discord where we will be watching Love is Blind together. Yes. I'll let you know when we'll be watching episodes 2 to 5, I think that is out. Obviously, we're not going to watch it in one go, but yeah, maybe like on Sunday or something, because I do have a busy weekend of other watch parties. But follow us on the Discord, connect with us over there, and yeah. Kwame. Okay, Kwame might bring redemption to Africa, because, you know, last season with SK, it was a tough one for our continent. Okay, so Kwame, he's a very warm, jovial, like, he's a great guy. And according to some of y'all's comments, because apparently the people in the comments, y'all know him, he's just a really good all-around person, and it's coming across well on camera.
I'm Kwame.
Cool name.
Thank you. Means born on Saturday, and
I love it.
I used to play soccer for a living.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Professional soccer player on our hand?
I went through a lot of my life not knowing, like, where I stood. I actually was going to use the name Alex instead. Kwame just like puts me in this very specific area.
Now, here's where Kwame lost me a little bit. You wanted to go by Alex? Your name is Kwame. You wanted to go by Alex. You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious. Oh my gosh. Like, if you were here last season, you know how I felt about SK and his brother going by the names that they went by. Like, I don't know. American palatability is just not something that I strive to do. So it upsets me sometimes when we want to assimilate in order to be accepted. He decided to still go by Kwame, which is great. Thank you. He does share that his strongest connection right now is with Micah, which does kind of make sense because in the promo videos, he wanted somebody to really match his energy, and he does seem like a more high energy person. And Micah so far has that same quality as well. In my first impressions, I had the feeling that Paul was going to be that wholesome sweetheart, and he is absolutely that. However, Paul cannot be out here proposing marriage to everybody.
My favorite place in the world is Positano.
Okay, listen, when we get married, that's reason for us to go back.
I could eat beignets all day.
Those are gonna be at our wedding, so just be ready.
Paul, it's not every woman you must marry, okay? It's not every woman you're going to marry. However, that might not even bother Amber, because Amber has been married twice. Yes, Amber has been married twice. And she says that in both those relationships, she was not appreciated. And I have to ask the question. It begs the question, how have you refined your filter? Because if you have been married twice and both those relationships concluded for similar reasons, I have to ask, so what is it that you're looking for that has changed? What within you has also changed? Like, it's going to be a repeated cycle if we haven't really gotten to the nitty gritty of why you keep choosing wrong, or why you pick people who present well and then their true colors show after the nuptials. That's a question that I have. I hope somewhere down the line she answers it. Billy. I made a joke that the only thing feral about Billy was his shirt, but apparently his mouth also needs to be tamed.
I like wearing leopard print.
You like wearing what?
Leopard print? Are you Japanese? Korean?
No.
5'1", 4'11".
The whole point of Love is Blind is not to be fixated on looks or preconceived notions. And you came in and you did exactly that. Of course, there's always going to be one. There's always going to be one. But I'm like, Billy, it's a no. It's a no from me. It's a no from all the women. It's a no from all of America. International. It's a no from everyone. Tiffany sits down with Brett. And I'm really excited at this point, because as you saw my first impressions, I wanted Tiffany to be with Brett. I just felt the energy, and clearly they felt the same.
Honestly, my longest relationship was 2 years, and that was about 2 years ago.
My longest relationship was only 2.5 years. That was about 10 years ago. I've always told myself, like, I want to find my soulmate.
I'm looking for a partner, and Tiffany is at the top of my list.
He said Tiffany is where? At the top. Now, don't worry about the part of my first impressions where I swapped out Tiffany for Bliss. Don't worry about that, okay? Just go with my first mind, okay? My first mind said Tiffany and Brett. Love it, okay? They have some parallels in their story, which is great. They both seem to have that wholesome yearning for deep love. Like, I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. Like, I want to see more with my like, it is absolutely lovely. Yeah, I knew they'd get along. I just off the pictures, off the little blurb of I just knew it in my spirit. I find it so interesting that I perceived Zach as somebody who was shallow based off the first impressions, like I said. And so as he's coming into the process, he's been making jokes about his profession and stuff like that. But then he has a revelation that if I'm trying to get married, I need to take this seriously because jokes are not going to lead me to my wife.
I'm a stripper.
Oh my God, ew, I hate that.
I'm a stripper.
Oh, stop it.
If I want to take this seriously, that I'm actually going to have to be vulnerable. My mother was a stripper, and she did that to make sure that I had food.
So it is interesting to me how his whole shtick coming into the pods was, oh, I'm a stripper, ha, ha, ha. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? And in reality, obviously, he's not a stripper, but his mother was. And he says that growing up, he received some judgment because of his upbringing. And I'm like, okay, I wonder how that played a part in how he perceives himself, how he perceived his mother, how that shows up in relationships and stuff like that. Because yes, he showed up using the profession as a joke, but I feel like it does kind of pang his heart a little bit. It is a chip that he has on his shoulder. So that is interesting. He does say that because of his mom's profession, he did turn into a hustler, basically, to honor her and to, to make her sacrifices not go in vain, basically. But now he's at a point in his life where he wants to live for more than just money and accolades, and he wants to build a family. But yeah, that stripper thing was interesting to me. I was like, your mom was a stripper, and now you've shared that you've been judged before about it. So now he presents it as a joke, kind of like a soft launch of like, so how do you feel about strippers? Because that's kind of a part of my life. Interesting. So we're back to Tiffany and Brett. Okay. So Tiffany and Brett are, having this little meet cute. They're basically color coordinating at this point. And they talk about how they've both pushed through adversity and have become better people because of it.
I'm the type of person that's like, I'm going to show you.
The satisfaction that you get from people doubting you,
Yeah.
like, I love that. 1 week, our power was cut off, our water was cut off. I started designing shoes for fun. I made an Instagram page and started posting my workup. I've gone from no footwear in the industry to a director at the biggest footwear company in the world.
I would have had this preconceived notion of who Brett was. He's not like all these other guys. He's different.
They both share the ability to thrive through hard times. Brett more so, because basically he shared that at some point his family fell below the poverty line. That's my deduction. He didn't specifically say like it was poverty levels, but for the sake of storytelling, okay? And even through that, he persevered through it, was able to climb the corporate ladder without even having a degree, and has made a name for himself despite his circumstances. And I love that Tiffany shared that if she had heard the story without the context, like, oh, don't have a college degree, was raised in these kind of conditions, she likely would have been turned off. Because I feel like as Black women, a lot of the time, we feel like we get stuck with the Dusties. And his story without context makes me feel like, dang, here's another Dusty. But regardless of his circumstances, he was able to persevere. He was able to push through to really climbed the corporate ladder to a level that is very successful and is commendable for people even with a degree. So the fact that he was able to do that, coming from where he's coming from, is big. It is really big. He also does share that he used to kind of take life for granted until his brother passed away suddenly. The brother was preparing for a wedding after 10 years of being in a relationship, and his life was taken like that off of a car crash. So now he's like, yo, life is short. You need to seize the day. And that's kind of the theme with Brett. This whole like, do something now, make a name for yourself now, pursue the things you want to pursue now. And I love that for him. So Paul has two very strong connections, and those are Amber and Micah. However, Micah is starting to get a little bit territorial when it comes to Paul. And I was like, oh.
How do you feel about Amber? You're only supposed to be talking to me.
Am I?
That.
I do have a very, very, very strong connection with someone else.
If you do feel sure about me, it's just hard to like imagine your other connection having such a great trajectory. Like he really wants validation from me, but I'm like not willing to give it to him.
At first, when I was watching this, I was like, okay, you know, when we like somebody, sometimes we do get a little bit insecure about certain things. Insecurity is normal. It's just, are you an insecure person? And at first I was like, no, she is. She absolutely is. Because her feeling away about Paul giving attention to Amber, I was like, okay, a little bit of a hump, but it's fine. We can work through it. But then when she's talking to Kwame, and basically, to me, I believe that she loves the chase and wants to be claimed, but doesn't necessarily want to give that same affirmation and attention and pursuit back. I don't like that. So Kwame's having strong feelings for somebody else who does give him the validation that he's looking for. And she's just like, well, are you just going to chase somebody because they validate you? But that's what you're doing. You want both men to express that they want you, but you're not really in a place where you want to say, okay, here's who I'm going for. So at one point in the episode, she tells both the men that she wants to be all in on them. She tells Kwame, don't tell anybody about I'm falling for you. She tells Paul, why are you focusing on Amber? Is it because I'm the risk? Well, what if I'm all in? Am I then a risk? Like she wants them to claim her, but then she doesn't want to give it back. It's the weirdest thing. So I'm just like, yeah, Micah, red flag. So Kwame has his own options. Of course, he has Micah, but he also has Chelsea, right? And I feel like Chelsea is a better fit for him on an intellectual and emotional level. He does want somebody who's a little bit more high energy, which is Micah. But I feel the deeper connection is with Chelsea.
We want to get to know each other like who we are on the inside.
Yes.
And what I hope that does is it nurtures what we see on the outside as well. I want to put my hands all over your bodies because like essentially I feel like I have myself all over your soul.
Let's just be done.
Like, can we just get at it right now? I would say it's feeling very, 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 very good.
Now, here's where Kwame really just annoyed me, right? Kwame is really into Chelsea, but he somehow was duped by what's her face, Micah. And he goes and he tells Micah, you know, I do feel more of a want for a relationship with Chelsea because it's mutual. But with you, like that's where the energy is. That's where the spark is, the vibe, whatever. Okay. So he feels like he wants more validation from this girl. But regardless of that, he's like, yeah, I'm almost at a point where I want to propose early. This girl's response to him saying he wants to propose early was, yeah, I have these strong feelings for you and I would like to pursue a relationship with you. The problem is I feel like down the line, I'm going to have regrets about not picking my other option because it is a slow burn. And I wouldn't have explored that connection to its fulfillment. So Kwame, here you are expressing that you need validation, right? You have a partner who's giving that to you. But you're going to choose the girl who already doesn't give you validation and is saying later down the line, if she was to pick you, she would be looking at that other person wondering what if. And you still want to pursue things with her? He basically was like, it's okay. I want to propose early. You're the one. Kwame, no. I don't know how Micah does it, but she managed to dupe him and Paul, because later on, now she's having a conversation with Paul. She's upset that Paul is giving so much energy to Amber, right? So he's like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a risk with you. I can't lie. Like, I don't really know where I stand with you. And she's like, well, if I tell you I'm all in, is it going to be a risk? And he's basically like, well, no. So then she's like, okay, then I'm all in.
Does that mean you're just over there like telling Amber you love her? I don't know, I feel like that's not like exactly what I wanted to like hear. And you wanted to move forward like just us, then I would have said that I wanted to do the same.
Do you think if we agreed to just go for each other, maybe you wouldn't feel risky to me anymore?
I think so.
Let's do it then.
I feel like she dangled the whole, well, you're going to lose me if you don't pick me, over his head, and that's what made him pick her. And I think her heart is more with Paul than it is with Kwame, but like, this girl, she just wants to be picked, like, and it's so annoying. Like, she just wants to be picked, but I don't see her actually giving enough reciprocity to either person. Both people were feeling like getting with her is a flight risk. And so she said, well, you got to pick me first for me to really be into you. And so it's only after they gave her that affirmation that she was like, okay, well, I affirm this connection as well. But then again, with Paul, I don't think Amber was going to be the best pick either, because he and Amber have a conversation, basically like a hypothetical, would you ever cheat on your partner? And Amber shares that potentially that could have been what happened with her ex-partners.
Yeah.
I think there's always an underlying issue. It doesn't make it okay, but there's always a reason. I'd like to think that I wouldn't, but I think that it would have led down to that road just because I wasn't happy.
Kind of a red flag.
Wait, you think that's a red flag with me?
A little bit.
I appreciate the honesty. I actually do. I think that cheating is never excusable. Cheating, specifically cheating. I'm not talking about open marriages. I'm not talking about arrangements that couples have with each other to see other people. I'm talking about an actual relationship violation where you agreed as a couple to be monogamous and you decide, I'm gonna be binogamous. It's not even binogamous, polyamorous, okay? Or whatever. And that's not an agreed thing between you and your partner. I think that a lot of the time that can happen in relationships that are unsatisfactory for both people. If only one person is getting what they want and the other person isn't, sometimes resentment can build, cheating can happen, like it happens. And she's saying hypothetically that could be what would go on in her relationship if she stayed with that man. And that is why at the beginning of the video, I asked, how has she refined her filter? Because she was unsatisfied in both marriages. And she felt like she was taken advantage of in both marriages. Because if her picker is off, Paul is potentially just a repeated cycle. And if she stays in that relationship, potentially cheating is in their future. Do you see where I'm going with it? You know what I mean? So I'm just like, yeah, I need to see Amber's like journey from what she learned in those marriages, how she's changed, or how she's refined her filter. That's the only way I can keep saying it. How she's refined her filter, because yeah, it could be a red flag. She hasn't cheated. She says she hopes she doesn't cheat, but she can also see how it could be in her future. Anyways, Paul doesn't even pick her. It's fine. It's not even an issue. Paul doesn't pick her, so it's a non-factor. So I don't even want to talk about Tiffany falling asleep because I still don't even understand how that happened. Okay, so let me just give myself a moment to process that. They have a cute moment. Okay, they have a cute moment talking about, you know, his journey through corporate America and how this is like a new beginning for him or something like that. And Tiffany shares that she's falling for the guy.
I already feel as though I'm in love with you. Are you running away now?
No, I am not running away. An area that I really want to grow in as a person is just being more comfortable with that word. I truly feel like we're like the perfect match. Hello? Hello, hello.
At first I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute, you know. And then I had to look a little bit deeper into Brett. Even though I like him, he has a little bit of a red flag for me because he shared the story about his brother and then later said, well, what if we, you know, fall for each other? What if we pursue something and then something happens? You can't live life in fear like that, you know? If anything, you seize the day because something can happen tomorrow, but at least you had today. You know what I mean? And then just her expressing feelings of love made him a little bit finicky. And I'm like, why is he so like doomsday? Or why is he so, okay, the only word that can come to mind right now is pussyfooting. Like, why is he pussyfooting when it comes to pursuing relationships? However, clearly he had just cause to be cautious with Tiffany because this girl fell asleep on the date. She fell asleep on the date. The only explanation I will accept is if she comes down and says she's narcoleptic. Because what? Girl, unless you are narcoleptic, I don't get it. I don't understand. That is a big red flag to me. But I'll see how it goes in episode 2. I'll let you guys know when we're going to do the watch party over on Discord. Can't really give you a date yet because we already have 2 watch parties planned, one tonight and one tomorrow. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But if you are just here for the YouTube reviews, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.